Well, first off, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it, especially on a Sunday. So
Yeah.
appreciate everyone who's online or watching, streaming. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it for joining. This is a campaign idea that we've had in mind, and I guess Denver, thanks to Denver, started it all.
Technically, Sam put out the idea.
Yeah.
Perfect. I missed that point.
Yeah, Sam put out the idea. I said I'll
I
run it, and
after,
then you
yeah.
said
I
gonna
just
make it
asked,
awesome.
hey, would anyone want to do a crusade? And then everyone said yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then thank you all, everybody else. Right? Not these guys, thank everybody else for their interest. So I'll let these
Dave.
Wow.
It's Dave.
Yes, Dave is there.
Dave.
Everyone say hi to Dave.
Hi, Dave. What's out of Dave? I don't have my camera on.
Oh, I told you to put your camera on, Dingus.
Listen, you.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the greatest angle.
There we go.
It's just going to be staring at the underside of Denver's chin.
Yeah. And flip camera. Look where. Up there.
Far left bottom.
That's not. That one? Oh, no, that's turned off. Oh, wait. There we go. There we go. Wonderful.
He's figuring it out. He's learning technology.
I don't do Discord stuff usually. Can you tell?
I can tell.
Perfect. Okay, so as you guys saw, the campaign's called Nemesis Rising. Denver's going to give you a quick intro of what it is about.
So, in the far future, there is only one, as we know. There is a secret project done by the Inquisitors, well, kept secret by the Inquisitors, known as the Nemesis Project. It's kept secret because, frankly, if this information were public, things would be bad.
Also, like, everything is secret to
I mean, yeah, also everything is secret to Inquisitors, yes. Anyways, they've tracked whatever codename Nemesis is to this far-off sector in space, in the galaxy. And they've decided that whatever Nemesis happens to be, this is where they're going to deal with it, or at least try to. So they needed first a little bit of a decoy, a reason to bring forces to the area. So they may or may not have exterminated the Hive World. Wouldn't be the first time.
But they had a whole bunch of
Definitely
excuses,
won't be
and
the
we'll get to
last.
that.
And that's essentially how we get to the sector, and how our intro goes. You know, we welcome to Nemesis Rising.
Sam, how did these factions get to this sector?
Initially, what ends up happening is, after the fall of Cadia and the opening of the Great Rift, there's a whole lot of empty space. I believe we've shown off the map before. But, a group of people is sent to colonize a small cluster of planets that, up until now, has been deemed relatively safe, no hostile life. Well, that was wrong. That was so incredibly wrong. It was a lot of Necrons, just too many Necrons. And they enclosed that space, and everyone thought they were dead, and they were abandoned. They were not dead. They kept fighting for many, many years until eventually the Necrons said, all right, you've just been murdering us for years now. It's time for us to just go find another planet. We'd rather live. Because clearly you aren't going to give up. But the problem is, those people that were abandoned by the Imperium are very mad at the Imperium for abandoning them. And the Inquisition doesn't like them as a result. Despite the fact that they were entirely loyal, they weren't loyal enough. And as such, given any possible opportunity, which was, in this case, the rise of a chaos cult, they exterminated their homeworld. And that kicked off one hell of a firefight, which drew in orcs because the punch-up of all punch-ups. Chaos decided, that looks like fun. The Necrons came back and thought maybe we could have our worlds back. And the Imperium was there thinking, well, we gotta destroy some traitors. Now, the Tau, which basically claim ownership of that initial cluster, were the ones who initially responded to the distress calls. Now, these people had been fighting against the Tau for so long, but eventually they decided, well, considering the guys we were loyal to decided to exterminate us, I guess we'll throw in our lot with the funny blue guys. And it turned out to be very good for them. And now, as a result, the space is just full of hostile factions that all want to murder each other. And now that House Nemesis is here, it looks like that firefight's about to kick off once more.
So that's giving you the gist of what the storyline is going to be about. How this is going to play out is going to be a little different. As you see on the table here, we have a bunch of little nice toys. Each one of these tiles will represent a territory. Each player will be given 3 territories. You get to set up your planet however you wish to set it up. You can ally with your fellow race allies to create a bigger planet. There are benefits for you to doing so, which we'll go into a little later. This, first off, will be set up on the wall, magnetized as a full system of planets. Every set of tile will be painted by yourselves. You can repaint over these, or the back side of them aren't painted at all. So you can do it with it as you wish. You will also be given custom terrain based on your faction. You see Tyranids, we have some Imperium, Space Marine from Dawn of War, Guard from Dawn of War, Eldar from Dawn of War, Tau, Necron, yada yada. You'll be getting a full set of mini terrain to place on your tiles per player for you to paint for this campaign. If you could paint those, the only thing I request, you could paint it however you want to, whatever terrain you want to do it, whatever colors. The border just be black, just to keep everything in unison. That'd be preferable, please.
Like how you've done the brown border here, just do it black?
Yeah, just do it black, right? So that'll just, when we're all on the space, it'll kind of symbolize that you're all just one sector, right?
Nice.
So you see here, we have a ship. Each one of you will get to choose your own ship. This will be yours to keep. Either I can provide you with a ship if you don't know what to choose. I do have STLs for those of you who don't know. I do 3D printing. I do have the 3D files for a lot of the ships from Armada, from the Thunderhawks and all that stuff. So if you just want a smaller version of that, I can print it out for you. That is your ship to keep. Paint that up, and that'll symbolize where your Crusade force is in space as we go through this whole narrative system. Yeah. We go to so obviously to mediate the people who have a lot more time to just attack. We do have a scheduled amount of time, not a scheduled amount of time, but a recommended amount of attacking, defending, and attacks you can do. We definitely don't want to limit players, but we try to kind of even it out, right? You don't want one guy to just go off and have the whole map to himself and be like, ha, I got every territory. So the limit is you get to attack once and defend once per week, okay? You can have space battles, so it's when you meet somebody else in space. You can have those battles twice a week. After that amount of time, so 4 battles total, you'll start receiving negatives to symbolize that you're exactly. So you're weary. So right off the bat, it's severe, right? You have -1 ballistic, -1 weapon, -1 leadership, right? So you guys are fatigued. You have now fought countless times over the course of a week, or an X amount of time, right? So this is shown through these negatives, right? You're tired, you're exhausted, right? Your power armor or whatever can only take you so far. This is what that symbolizes, okay? Keep in mind that doesn't include any additional negatives in game. So if you are now -1 to hit again, you're -2. If you get a battle scar, you're -3, right? So it's very severe that you don't exceed that. You can if you want, right? But there's no, you're taking a lot of hindrances in doing so, okay? Let's talk about how attacking territories work, okay? Like I said, every territory is a cluster of 3 planets, okay? You'll interlock them when the time comes. An attacker can choose to attack any territory, okay? Now, if you choose to attack a stronghold right off the bat, there is a huge disadvantage to attacker, right? For every territory that's owned by the single player, they'll get 250 points additional to their army against you. Okay? So it is highly recommended you attack the territories before you go for strongholds. The same bonuses happen when factions stick together. So if you have a 6-planet Necron, or a 6-player Necron planet, I don't know how many Necron players we have, a 6-player Necron planet, that shares in benefits, right? Either they can multi-gang up to you as you land, and they'll just be like, sorry, bud, wrong place, and they blast you right off. So exactly, wrong town. So that's gonna show into making sure people still have strongholds, right? Keeping your stronghold does give you a benefit in game. Losing the stronghold always will start giving you negatives until you reclaim your stronghold. Okay. When you're defending a planet, for the people who are defending, the defender will get to choose the map layout. They'll get to choose who goes first and the terrain set. So obviously you want to be fair. So there is a limit. There is a minimum amount of terrain a defender has to put for the attack, right?
Yeah, Tau players.
So I have listed out, like, you must have 1 line of sight blocking, 2 medium building, 2 scatter terrain, and then whatever else you want on top of that. Doesn't have to be much after that, but that's up to your discretion. The layout's all yours. They are attacking your planet. You have first dibs. You have the first layout.
Then a quick question would be then, if you have, for example, custom terrain, so for example, I have a 3D printer and I have terrain that I would like to print for Tau,
Sure.
specific stuff, so I can paint up and then bring some of that stuff in?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's your home planet, right? So they're attacking you at that point, so you can choose to set up the terrain however you want, right? So going into that, this campaign will also include a set of terrain for the store. So I printed a couple examples. It's going to be quite a bit of these. So good Necron scatter terrain, obviously.
You mean?
Sorry.
Necrons.
We already have Necrons. Now Tyranid.
My kind of Necron.
There you go. Those are fleshy Necrons.
Flesh.
Exactly. So a ton of these spires. Exactly. A ton of these spires will be printed, larger set pieces for line of sight blocking. So we're going to have a lot of terrain to add to any faction rule because that's Tyranids are. They devour.
Nom, 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 nom.
Doesn't matter what planet they're on. You just add these and it'll create a new narrative for your tables. Okay?
So any battle you're in.
Defenders, when you're defending a planet. Okay, this is very important. You can defend any planet you want as long as it's owned by your faction, or as long as it's owned by your faction, in case you can't make it to your own defense. The defender cannot use their Crusade army because your Crusade army is on your ship.
Crusading.
It's just Crusade, right? So you get to have access to anything in your arsenal to defend, right? So for instance, I'm not playing, but I have, a 30,000 point Space Marine, right? I get to choose any of that Space Marine dedicated to our game. So if it's 1,000 points, 1,000 of any of that, and that will be my defense, right? So it won't count towards anything. They won't get any buffs. This is outside of anything. Obviously, the attacker will because they're using their Crusade force. But yeah, you have a full open. It doesn't affect any of your roster. Keeping it separate, right?
Just my bunker.
Just the sake of yeah, exactly. You want to land? Pylon. So yeah,
That's defense line.
exactly everywhere.
They'll get used. Yes.
Throughout the campaign, there will be anomalies. They'll physically pop up on the map. You'll see them either space station, a planet can come out of nowhere. Hey, the warp, right? The warp, they just pop right out. So,
Hello there.
surrounding players for stuff like space stations, surrounding players around the area, whether they be physically in person or territories, you will get sent a notification either to your faction or to you directly. You can interact them as you wish. However, if you have a game plan that week, you are automatically not allowed to join that fight or do that quest. That quest is usually the first come, first serve, whoever grabs that quest. If it's a multi-person quest, you will also be notified that it's a multi-person quest. Some of them will be pinging different factions, so if you guys meet on the board, it will be a free-for-all. So as they happen, they will have different narratives and they will have custom events within the thing. I will let people know right off the bat, there are also underground missions where you will not be able to use vehicles. So you're using a full foot force to invade a underhive, for instance.
Use the rules for boarding actions.
Yeah. So we're trying to incorporate every type of form of game here, just for people to kind of spice up. If you haven't been introduced to it, then you can kind of buddy up and learn about it while you're playing.
Underground fights where you're not allowed to bring vehicles. I'm assuming there's also monsters that kind of gives you like a 500 point buffer to like
Exactly.
take more
Other
infantry.
units.
Like you have your 500 points of vehicles, and then you can also build 1,000 points. Of
The underhive
boarding action
battles
stuff.
will be 1,000 points.
Oh, okay.
Boarding action is 500.
It's 500.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. So
They don't happen often, and obviously it's agreed upon on you guys. So if you guys like, hey, I want to try boarding actions, you can buddy up and do that. Cool. Play that as you are, but that's a 500 point game. Okay. We're gonna say off the bat, Primarchs are not allowed in the first phase. So if you're planning on bringing a Primarch, I'm sorry. However, in the upcoming phases, if it's agreed upon within all your factions that you are going to take the one Primarch, fine. Right? So if I have a group of Space Marines and we all have Guilliman, only one of us can actually have Gil. Instead of having 6 Guillimans running around. Not going to work like that. Hey, wait a minute.
Spider-Man meme.
Exactly. Anyone huge like that, 100%.
Okay.
The shards are something that we're not entirely sure of. How we're going to run those.
Should we just do like epic heroes, like the named characters? Only one per.
And that's what, that's what we're gonna get to, right? The super epics. Some of them, obviously, you can't get around.
So like Aramin for Thousand Suns.
Exactly. Army for Thousand Suns, I wouldn't consider an epic, but Magnus, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
They still shouldn't have 2 Armins.
yeah, but then you limit a lot of people on like if you're taking the Eldar, if you're taking a Karn, none of the other Eldar can take Karn. Right.
As an army,
I mean, with Aramin, it seems like there's only 2,000 Suns players that I've seen so far, and that's myself and somebody else.
Are you both taking Arbor?
I mean, now I can use.
I mean, they both have warp shenanigans. You can just teleport between their ships. It's fine.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I think there's no
Oh,
reason.
one
I was going to say, as far as a small solution to that goes, when you make your Crusade like actual like data sheets,
Yes.
you have to make your own custom thing. You put down their name and track their points.
Yep.
For some characters that are on the lesser scale, like Ahriman, we could say that they're not Ahriman, but an Ahriman-like sub-character. You give them
Zine stuff, he could have cloned himself for a moment.
Exactly what I wanted to.
For example,
Minor
I know.
character. Didn't he like effectively single-handedly wipe out an entire army?
Don't worry about that.
Wait.
And turned everyone into
His
dust.
own army.
Yeah, he made his whole army dust.
He was one of the most powerful sorcerers.
Hey.
Before
I don't mean to undermine him. I don't mean to undermine the poor guy.
but multiple high fleets can deploy.
Can you grow units?
So,
Like,
Yes.
Yes.
Units
Yes.
versus 5 men, you can grow it up to
You can go
10.
up to 10.
There's a
Yeah.
requisition
There's a
called
requisition too.
Fresh Recruits,
Okay.
where you can just increase the squad size.
So
Yeah.
then benefit from anything that was gained.
Yeah,
by the
so if a group of 5 guys run around gaining XP and you want to just
I
add new
believe if
dudes,
they have a battle honor,
It costs
it'll,
more.
it'll specifically say that it'll either cost more or that you can to do it. Like you can, if they have experience, so like if they're like 4 to 5 before the battle honor, you can give it to them and then upgrade. It's specifically in the rules.
It does specify in the rules, yes.
Yeah. What's the last one?
So if you have important squads, it's better to up those as soon as possible then. in
Yes.
that position.
Then again, they die.
Again, if they
You
die.
have your eggs in one basket, you're like, damn it.
Exactly. Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's balance, right?
do we start with the 5 requisition points like in the Crusade manual, or is that included in our 500 bonus?
That's included in your 500. Yeah, you can't, because then people will just be like, oh, 2,000.
I don't mean to keep hogging the questions.
No, you're good.
Please.
Ask away.
But as far as like defenses go, so for example, if me and Sam, like I'm playing Tyranids and he's playing Guard, we've decided that we're going to work together, and I'm not going to devour his guardsmen, and in turn he's not going to shoot my dear and beloved bugs. Our planet gets invaded. How do we coordinate a defense together?
That's a
Because
so Tyranids. So if we're gonna add a little bit of spice,
yeah,
the planet goes to you because you're devouring the planet.
Yeah, the guard.
The guard's there to help you take off whoever was there, or claim it, like completely wipe the sector. But you're eating that planet.
Because this is still happening during
It's-
High Fleet Leviathan
exactly.
invasion.
You're still devouring.
because my Hive Fleet doesn't devour planets. We cultivate them.
Okay.
That's why we're a neutral
Then that's a
faction
very
and not like a
special
Tyranid.
rule for your
Yeah,
faction.
That's why that's
Special
a great-
rules for different factions will be set up.
We'll talk about how yours. Yeah.
That's-
We'll work on
To
yours.
everyone else, there's no distinction.
Yeah. Everyone else, they devour.
Oh, you're cultivating. Well, okay, I guess we'll just still live there then.
Yeah. So
Well, that's it. Because Sam's faction, for example, has been living on the same planet that we have, and until other Imperium forces showed up and told them that we were Tyranids, they had no idea that we were Tyranids.
They kind of just assumed they were weird animals out in the forest.
Yeah,
Like how
they're
the
like-
Contagion creatures. are-
yeah, except our
I guess
also.
I affectionately refer to as High Fleet Bigfoot, where they're like local legends of like Yeah, there was this
Yeah.
weird predator, and like there were
Out
these
in the
hostile
woods.
animals, and then they were all dead one day.
Yeah, there's this weird guy out in the woods, and it was this flying demon thing. Did he hurt you? No, he just stared at me really weird until I left.
It's like Mothman.
Uh-huh. He did.
Come on, man.
So we don't have a standard for painting. Obviously, if you can paint them, great, and it looks nicer. The only thing I do ask if you're going to paint something, the terrain. This terrain specifically, because again, this is going to be on display for the store. It's going to look great, and everything's done. We're doing essentially a mural of space. But these are the planets.
Spice.
So if you can get that done, that's the only thing I really request. Everything else doesn't look that cool. Okay? Now this is a huge one, gambits. It's brought to my attention these gambits are getting out of hand.
They're not getting out of hand.
They
but
are out of hand, or
They're not getting out of
Okay.
hand, but it's possible to win with them despite you
Yeah.
technically
Perfect.
losing the game.
Okay. So
That's their purpose, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, how are you going to call it a victory when the only objective you completed was getting murdered and then leaving?
I mean, from what I understood from watching some of the Auspex tactics, only like 3% of it in like big tournaments and all this other stuff actually succeeded on their
Oh, yeah.
gambits, and even then,
apparently it was happening here, man. They told me it was happening here. I'm like, God damn.
Really?
I've done a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That said, he got the game, but he still lost.
He still lost, but like in the off chance it became much closer. In the off chance it's a close game, he pulls off
What
a
I would do is
gambit.
I'd read what they are and see how they affect the army. Because ones like that, where it's like you escape, well, you'd escape and then you'd maybe take less casualties.
Well,
Something
that's
like
kind of
that.
what we've taken into
Yeah.
account,
Yeah.
Right? So our gambit ruling for gambits, the scoring unit gains additional XP. Okay. You can't gain a territory on a gambit. So if you win a gambit in space, fine, but you can't do it on the planet. Right?
Yeah.
If you are risking it all to win the game, you won the battle, but you're now surrounded by territories you don't control. You're going to lose that war. So therefore, you're not going to gain that territory. Okay. On the tactical gambit, the loser doesn't receive any negative debuffs, right? Because essentially they were winning the game until you gambited. So it kind of it offset it if the loser didn't receive the debuffs if the winner won from gambit.
If the player defending and the person gambits deploy orbital strike marker, what happens to the guys who are there?
The guy that lost?
Like
Well, the guy that lost the
succeeded,
game?
Orbital strike, as
Nothing.
they called it.
Nothing.
Okay.
Emergency evacuation
Exactly.
from all forces in the area, and everything that you guys are fighting over is now moved because it's destroyed.
All right.
They abandoned ship
The
before that.
nuke it from orbit gambit is not going to have an effect. Okay.
Yeah, you still nuke the area, but
It's
battle
less
stars for the-
apocalyptic.
Exactly.
yeah, everyone goes, okay, fine, I guess we'll all leave then. You know?
Are the clouds glowing? Let's get out of
Hey,
here.
wait a minute.
Oh shit.
All right.
The last question we had was points changes. We've all played Warhammer for some time now. If the points change, the points change. This is going to have to change along with those changes. For us to kind of keep track of all points and stuff, not going to happen. You're playing with the most updated points. Those are runes you're going to be playing with going forward. When they change it, you have to adjust, right? Points go up, points go down. It's usually about the same for every army. You lose 20 points, you gain 20 points. Especially at 1,000 points, it's not going to be too bad.
One last question: super heavies and walkers. How are we dealing with like Titans, Bane Blades, and like Herons?
For the time being, the only Titans are not allowed.
Okay.
Super heavies. Taking a super heavy, so if I'm bringing a Bane Blade against 1,000 points, that's 600 points of my
It's not wise.
1,000 points. It's not wise. I mean, you can if you want, of course. It's highly recommended you advise your opponent that hey, I'm bringing a Bane Blade. I'm bringing a Bane Blade. So that you, within your 1,500 of roster, can
Staring
adjust
intently.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? When you're building a roster, obviously you want to keep those things in mind. Okay, you want to have the anti-big stuff, right? Again, I'm sorry for the Titan players, myself included. No Titans for now.
Warhound's fine.
No, you can't. It's over 1,000.
It's just a puppy.
Yeah, but in another Crusade, and further down the road. bigger
Further down the
Crusade,
road,
yeah.
we'll when we start opening up the bigger games, when more stuff drastically happens. Yes,
Takes long to
the Titans will be allowed, or we'll have events for Titans specifically. Because again, like if you're playing against Grey Knights, can't deal with a Titan at all. They can barely deal with Knights. They cannot deal with a Titan, right? Custodes? Well, I mean, their durability deals with it. right? To a degree.
They have to
to a
fight it
degree.
in combat to kill it, and that's not great.
Yeah.
Exactly. But hey, much better than Grey Knights. Right? Grey Knights, I'll shoot a bolter at you.
You got more wounds. At least.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah,
some
that's-
factions
that's-
have a much easier time of dealing with armor than others. So that's
Exactly.
why I asked.
Right. No worries. And that's it. I'm glad you didn't. I think we also said that in the chat.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify officially.
By all means.
Should Chaos Demons gain experience?
Um,
Right?
Because they new demons every time.
Like no experience, no battle scars. Like
Well,
you
you're-
summon Nurglings and they die. Like
again, that's a faction. So much like his Tyranids, it's a very faction specific.
Yeah.
Is there anyone playing demons?
Yes, there is.
How
There are
many?
I think 2 or 3.
Okay, so we'll have to go into that because obviously your named character demons are sticking around, so you want to have XP. I think for balance purposes, you're gonna treat them as the same for every other.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
just to keep it simple.
Exactly.
It's still the same unit. You can have it be like
It hasn't been all the way banished yet.
they're like
exactly. There's one
just another-
pink horror left,
Another
Or it
unit
gets
of
banished,
demons
but
that
back
has
to your
the same
homeworld
benefits.
instead of the war.
which is the home.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you know that.
So yeah, so that's what we got going for this, and obviously
There is one more thing you missed. Back to anomalies. It's possible for them to show up randomly during just preset games you guys have.
yeah.
So you'll just hand us like a card and
You're like,
I
guess
might hand you
what?
a card, or like turn 2 or something. A bunch of demons might spawn, or the lion might show up, or a squad of custodes will show up.
He was just in the neighborhood.
Oh my god.
You have access to
They
my
just show
powers.
us. No, direct. Obviously, they have their own mission on the
Yes,
table
you
that
can
don't
choose.
involve you.
Yeah, you can choose not to interact with them at all, and there's a chance that they won't interact with you. Or there's a chance that you're standing on the thing that they want, and they're going to come and try and kill you.
or there's some fallen amongst your ranks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right?
Which would be
So-
weird if you're playing Tau, but
Very interesting.
they're very short.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second, who are you?
Fire Warrior wasn't a.
No, it's no
yeah.
matter that he's like 8 foot tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes the mask off and it grows like 4 feet. It's like,
Like, what-
oh man. Wait a minute.
Yeah, really.
That's how the fallen custodes blend in.
There you go.
Yeah.
They get off their stilts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the campaign for you.
Sounds really fun, man.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're super excited. The
Oh,
story's
yeah,
obviously
it should be
great. We're excited to see what the spaceport's going to look like. It's going to be sick.
So yeah, and then there's the fact that I'll be, hopefully, it's why I want you all to have named characters and at least have something for your faction, because I want to give everyone about a 5,000 word story focus on their army. So if you have your, your named characters, whatever, I want to at least have something written for everyone in like Black Library style. Give them their moment to shine narratively.
And if any epic moments happen during your games, make
Yeah,
sure to
make
keep
sure to
track of
note it.
those. And
Cool.
Yeah,
Character
what
duels,
Onslaught
whatever you
Fire Warriors
have.
holds up against an insane amount of force.
yeah,
So we had talked about deadlines. So like next Friday is an example of the $20 and stuff like that. What's it look like, kind of timeline wise? I know like the characters and everything else. When are we going to kick off?
Our kickoff is September.
yeah.
We're
Over
going
the
to go
beginning of September.
first week of September. We want to have the board up. Everything's going to be done.
Yep.
So then when will you be handing out packages then?
Packages will be at the store held for you.
Yep.
So whenever you decide to come in, they'll be there.
Yep.
Right? Also, the PDF will be on the Discord. So
So if
they'll
we're
have all
away
access
for
to
a few
it.
weeks.
Pardon?
If we're away for multiple weeks, so
That's okay. That's okay.
So as long as the faction-
You have your faction to defend your planet.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't want to do it specific player.
Yeah.
Because if you can't make it, somebody's got to be there. And if nobody can be there, one of us will be there.
Now, to be fair,
So-
if you want to be an edgy loner, you can.
Yeah.
But
You're not going to have a.
yeah,
It's gonna be a battle, man. It's gonna be a battle.
piss off
You're
everyone,
hitting
it's not
those
gonna-
4 battles a week, bro.
if you manage to piss off everyone,
One Tyranid player.
that's on you.
So yeah, no, we
Oh yeah, you're the one true Tyrannid.
I am thinking I might help the Tyranids out
Okay.
somehow.
I'm just trying to hang out from the chat. The tiles will be at the store when we pay the $20.
yes.
You're doing your own thing, Dad.
Yes. So, everyone, because this is actually kind of important. I guess the best way to do this is the tiles will be at the store for you when you in 2 weeks. Does that give everyone enough time? Is 2 weeks enough time to make the tiles?
when do we need to tell you about?
Paint the tiles on the train?
getting
This
the
trade.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I can pump that out in probably 2 hours.
So, sorry, what was your question?
When do we need to tell you which faction we are to get?
And that's
things
my
printed?
second. That's what I wanted. If you could tell me by end of week, because so I can get everything printing and get everything ready for you, that would be much appreciated. If you're around, I could show you what the ships I have for each faction are, if you want. But yeah, no. If you could tell me by end of week, so I can get the terrain printed and everything separated for you in a little baggie, fantastic, right? If not, then I'll ping everybody in the Discord and make sure everyone reminds me, or I remind them, be like, I need these. If you're not going to join, then you're not going to join. But this needs to happen. For people who decide to join late, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Because we can't keep the SKU open for that long at the store, also. So we got to make sure everything's kind of balanced.
One last question, and this is probably this might be super obvious to everybody but me. What happens if you lose all your planets?
Your Crusade
You're in
force
the
is
fleet.
still on your ship.
And
So you can go
So you
take
can
another
go
planet.
claim more
You can
planets.
still invade.
okay, so you
So
can
it's a moving-
be,
can
be
knocked
fleet-based.
out.
Yeah.
You're not knocked out
No, you're not
if
knocked
you
out.
lose your planets
No.
and you lose your next game type deal. Like you just have nowhere to
You
call
lose a
home. Okay.
bonus of your base planet,
Excellent.
Yep.
and you don't know what that bonus is yet.
Excellent.
Movement
Just
speed of
just
vehicles.
curious.
Pardon?
Movement speed of vehicles traveling from place to place.
What vehicle?
Planet to planet.
So
Like,
ships,
Spaceship.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
You just go whatever. Alright.
Cool.
Use the word.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
You're all warp engines anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Sucks to be cow. Engines, they
You
just
can
have
only
like-
move adjacent.
So we're slower than Tau. So what does that mean?
You get one player. That's it.
Oh.
People can only attack you.
No.
No. So just
Alright.
to mix everything up,
Yeah.
you can go wherever you
Just
want.
go wherever you want.
Gene Stealer calls when they attack, they actually wait, and then 3 weeks later they have their attack.
Exactly.
Mutate a bunch of people.
Infiltrate. Exactly. You have
Takes-
to create
takes
the
a
army.
while.
Decades
Yeah,
of breeding.
Of course.
Exactly.